Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm Ling Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's stories. 3 courts ruled against the governor in separate cases. 2 constitutional lawyers weighed in on the significance of the cases. And a tomato truck crashed on a major interstate highway, clogging up traffic and leaving quite a mess on the pavement. We'll have a look at the scene. Last week, 3 California courts ruled against Governor Gavin Newsom's COVID lockdown orders. In the separate cases, state courts have ruled that the government may have overstepped its authority. NTD's Daniel Hall reports.
In a span of 7 days, 3 California courts ruled in favor of both the people of California and the United States Constitution in 3 groundbreaking cases. The courts ruled that the state government may have overreached its power following Governor Gavin Newsom's COVID shutdown orders and mandates.
I would say that these most recent rulings, the 3 that did rule in favor of private businesses, absolutely are respecting the rule of law and the Constitution of the United States.
Alexander Haberbush, a constitutional attorney, says each suit needs to be assessed on a case-by-case basis.
I would say that in general, the real problem with the proliferation of these mandates has been that they are really just that. You know, what's a mandate? When you refer to a mandate, generally what that refers to is an order from somebody who's higher in the government to somebody beneath them in government. What we saw here was a proliferation of mandates that applied not against just government personnel, but against we the people.
Each of the 3 cases had its own significance. The first ruling highlighted the freedom of religion in the San Jose Calvary Chapel.
What's so unique about this is California courts have generally been leaning in favor of the government. But to have 3 cases within 7 days of each other, all going against the governor, that is a really good sign that the courts are starting to really focus in on the constitutional rights of the individuals and start finding where those limits are of where, just how far a government can go under emergency powers.
Mark Moiser, a candidate for California's U.S. Senate seat and also a constitutional attorney, explains the church refused to shut down after Governor Newsom's order. A local judge then sanctioned the church and ordered a $190,000 fine. Moiser said about 5 California cases went up to the United States Supreme Court. Justices ruled that the order was unconstitutional and that the pastors cannot be sanctioned. The other 2 cases involved local businesses directly impacted by shutdown orders. The state tried to get the cases dismissed, but the judges allowed them to proceed.
One is out of Orange County, the luxury nail salon. They filed what's called a Government Tort Claims Act, basically saying, the statute says if the government commandeers my property because of the governor's emergency orders, you have to pay me back.
Moiser said that the nail salon argues that they are entitled to compensation, alleging Newsom chose which businesses were allowed to stay open. One example he cited was a restaurant that was not allowed to operate with outdoor dining. But just 10 feet away, Hollywood actors were able to dine outdoors using a caterer.
I'm losing everything. Everything I own is being taken away from me. And they set up a movie company right next to my outdoor patio, which is right over here.
If the governor decides to make decisions of you're open and you're not open, those businesses that are shut down may have a claim against the government saying...
Tin Horn Flats, a restaurant in Burbank, publicly questioned the constitutionality of the governor's COVID shutdowns. The city then sued the restaurant.
And in Tin Horn Flats, they were very vocal in saying, hey, these shutdown orders are not right. We shouldn't have to be doing it. And the city of Burbank and the state of California came after Tin Horn Flats, and they shut off their power, and they built a fence around the property.
In response, the eatery countersued both the city and the governor, claiming violations against their First Amendment rights. Additionally, during the state's eviction moratorium, the government allowed Tin Horn Flats' landlord to evict their business. Moiser says once the final decisions are made in these cases, the result could deter the governor from using emergency powers in the future. Haberbush added that he is encouraged by the rulings.
We saw a lot of hostility from judges on those cases early on. We've been seeing that slowly but surely turn around. But what's really encouraging to see is that on the business side of things, that's also going on. because nobody was hit harder by the restrictions imposed in this pandemic than small business owners.
The pending lawsuits are set to begin discovery within the coming months. Daniel Hall, NTD News, California.
The California legislature has passed a bill that, according to the Wall Street Journal, would give the government the power to set fast food worker wages. NTD's Colin Fredrickson has what restaurant owners and economists think about it.
California's legislature has passed a bill that would heavily impact its fast food industry. Namely, it would create a government panel which will decide how much fast food restaurants must pay their workers. Californian politicians will choose who goes on the panel, which will include union representatives, workers, and employers. They want to set wages to be as high as $22 per hour by next year.
The initial hit is going to be, almost all the profits going to diminish, disappear overnight, until you catch up. And even then, I'm not sure, if we're ever going to be as profitable as we are, pre-pandemic.
Wing Lam is the co-founder of Wahoo's Fish Taco, a restaurant chain with over 30 locations in California. Lam says he's going to have to raise prices.
We have two choices. We figured out how to, live with the increases, or we move out of California. And a lot of companies have.
Lam says restaurant owners outside of California make more money because they don't have to deal with California's regulations.
These people don't understand anything about economics and business.
Robert Wright is a senior faculty fellow at AIER. Wright believes we'll see a lot of unemployed fast food workers.
You will see lots and lots of people trying to get fast food jobs, but not many employers wanting to hire them at that wage.
This is a labor demand and supply chart. This line represents labor supply. This line represents labor demand. We have wages on the y-axis and quantity of labor on the x-axis. At the center is the equilibrium wage, where the market causes labor supply and demand to meet. If a government-mandated minimum wage is above the equilibrium, that results in more labor supply than labor demand. In other words, fewer workers.
I love how governments think that they can control the world just by, making an edict. But in the end, prices and markets are going to win out.
John Dunham is the president of John Dunham and Associates, an economic research firm. Dunham says that if the minimum wage is too high, all it does is hurt the industry, including the workers in that industry. Governor Gavin Newsom has until September the 30th to either sign or veto the bill. He hasn't publicly taken a stance on it yet. Colin Fredrickson, NTD News.
There is already no doubt that California's population is shrinking for the first time in its history. But that begs the question, who is leaving? Some new research has the answer to that.
Californians, especially those in a higher income bracket, are emigrating to other states. According to research from Smart Asset, high earners making $200,000 or more have been pouring out of high-tax states like New York and California in the last 2 years. Between declined foreign immigration, lower birth rates, and the continued exodus, the Golden State's population growth is in the negative for the first time in 170 years. In California, the average resident pays a statewide tax rate of more than 7% plus additional local district taxes. But if you make $1 million a year, between the highest state tax of 13% and 37% federal, there goes half of your taxable income. A San Francisco Chronicle reporter mined through Internal Revenue Service data and found 39,000 San Francisco residents moved away in 2019. They took more than $10 billion in income with them. According to the report, the top 3 destinations for the rich who left San Francisco are Teton County, Wyoming, Washoe County on the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe, and Palm Beach in Florida. Besides major ski and vacation resorts, all 3 states attract movers with little to no personal income taxes, reasonable home prices, and lower cost of living. When the wealthy take their money elsewhere, the state's public services, including schools and healthcare, will likely suffer. The top 1% pays half of California's income taxes after all.
A tomato truck crashed on a major Northern California highway, creating not just congested traffic, but a sea of ketchup.
The Highway Patrol responded to a crash on Interstate 80 in Vacaville on Monday. A big rig hauling tomatoes went through the center divide and sent thousands of tomatoes spilling across the freeway in opposite directions. Multiple lanes were closed in both the west and eastbound directions. Caltrans cleaned the roads before reopening all lanes.
We are going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we got for you when we come back. Crime statistics are out for 2021. We'll look at what kinds of crime went up during the second year of the lockdown. And the US Sumo Competition will be held in under 2 weeks. We'll see what's drawing more and more people to participate in Japan's national sport. That and more on California Today. California's annual crime statistics are in. Last year showed an increase in violent crimes and property crimes in 2021. Here are the details.
On August 25th, the California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced the release of 3 crime-related reports for 2021. The annual reports focus on data reported to the state's Justice Department in 2021 on crime, homicide, and juvenile justice. According to the reports, homicides increased by 7.2% in 1 year. They went from 2,202 in 2020 to 2,361 in 2021. For 2020, homicides increased by 31%, the largest single-year increase reported in state history. As for last year, the homicide rate is the highest it's been since 2008. Total reports of violent crimes increased to nearly 183,000, the highest it's been since 2008. That includes homicide, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault, which are labeled as violent crimes. When compared to 2019, before the COVID-19 pandemic, 2021 had 17 to 40% more reports of assaults, homicides, and arson. Crimes such as rape, robbery, and larceny theft decreased. As for property crimes, it increased by 2% compared to 2020, with 180,000 motor vehicle theft reports made this year, the highest since 2007. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Public health officials on Thursday confirmed Los Angeles County's first human cases of West Nile virus for the year. While cases of the endemic mosquito-borne disease are uncommon, they can be potentially fatal. NTD's Bill Thomas tells us more.
The LA County Department of Public Health says that 6 cases of West Nile virus have been confirmed in the Antelope, San Fernando, and San Gabriel valleys. Most of the patients were hospitalized for the illness in late July and early August. All of them are recovering. Leanne Verdick, district manager of the Antelope Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District, told the LA Times, "This is a reminder that West Nile virus is active in Los Angeles County every year, and mosquito control is a shared responsibility." Last year, LA County reported 17 cases of West Nile, resulting in 12 hospitalizations and 1 death. That was a substantial decline from 2020, which saw 93 cases, 79 hospitalizations, and 7 deaths. West Nile virus, which is spread by mosquitoes, is endemic to LA County. Health officials are urging the public to take measures to protect themselves, especially adults 50 and older, as well as people with chronic health conditions who are susceptible to serious illness. Los Angeles County Health Officer Dr. Muntu Davis said in a press release, "Simple measures can reduce mosquitoes and mosquito bites, like protecting yourself and your family with insect repellent and removing standing water outside your home." The Department of Public Health also advised residents to avoid mosquito-infested areas and to wear long-sleeve shirts and pants when outdoors, especially during the early morning and evening hours. Bill Thomas, NTD News, Los Angeles.
A brutal heat wave is about to take hold in Southern California. Temperatures in many areas will be rising into the triple digits and staying that way through the Labor Day weekend. NTD's Bill Thomas has more on what to watch out for.
The National Weather Service says temperatures rose a few degrees today, and they'll spike even more tomorrow and stay that way through next weekend. The NWS issued an excessive heat warning for much of the state and an excessive heat watch from Wednesday morning through Sunday night for most of Los Angeles County. In Van Nuys, just a short distance from downtown LA, temperatures are expected to top 100 degrees every day from Tuesday through Sunday, peaking at 106 degrees on both Wednesday and Sunday. The city of Santa Clarita, about 45 minutes north of downtown LA and home to Six Flags Magic Mountain, will hit 104 degrees tomorrow and get as high as 108 on Thursday. In the high desert city of Lancaster, traditionally one of the hottest spots in Los Angeles County, highs are expected to hover around 109 degrees Wednesday through Sunday. To avoid heat-related illness, the Center for Disease Control says drink plenty of water before, during, and after your workday. Dehydration is a primary contributor to heat exhaustion, and chronic dehydration increases your risk for developing kidney stones. Bill Thomas, NTD News, Los Angeles.
Sumo wrestling, a niche all too iconic martial art unique to Japan, is spreading in popularity throughout the world, and there is a tournament approaching on the West Coast. NTD's Jackie Reels went to hear what some competitors had to say, including a world champion.
It's less than 2 weeks until the US Sumo Open. This year, competitors of all kinds are getting ready for the big event in Los Angeles. Training was underway at the Yamamoto Sumo Dojo, established by two-time world champion Yama. He's a pro sumo or rikishi with over 30 years of experience and known as the heaviest sumo wrestler ever. He explained why sumo is so easy to get into.
Someone watching sumo for the first time can immediately recognize who won and who lost. It's really simple and easy and fun for fans to understand.
Those simple rules are: the wrestler loses when he exits the ring or touches the ground with any part of his body besides the soles of his feet, or if his belt comes loose during a match. Andrew Freund, director of the US Sumo Open, also spoke on the martial arts popularity.
And I think a lot of people in other sports, like judo or wrestling, football, whatever, transition very well into sumo because it's similar in many ways. And it's really fun. It's really easy to understand. You can come the first day, try a practice, and it's pretty clear how to win, how to lose. And then it's just a matter of learning a lot of techniques and refining your sumo over time. So it's actually really easy to pick up the basics.
One of the wrestlers, who's a two-time US Sumo Open champion, talked about what brought him to compete outside of Japan.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I came here to win the tournament. It's always fun to compete in, like, how do I say, foreigners. I mean, I'm foreigners. Many people from all over the country. So they all have their own background.
Although professional sumo is only done in Japan, amateur sumo has become more popular as everyone can participate.
Normally, like yesterday, we had a kid who's 9 years old who's been doing it for 3 years. We've had people, like I'm in my 50s, we've had people in their 60s and even older do it and actually compete, and people of any size.
A female heavyweight champion talked about women competing in sports.
Oh, of course. There's always a growing population of women in the U.S. Doing sumo, and the beauty of amateur sumo is that it's really for any gender and any weight class. So we have different weight classes, anywhere from lightweight to heavyweight. So it's really diverse. To put amateur sumo to the test, NTD's cameraman Adam Lin volunteered on that day's training.
Your guy, Adam, he was amazing, and he's only about 130 pounds. So size, gender, age are not really limitations, especially because in international rules, amateur rules, there are weight classes, and there's also classes for both men and women.
The training starts with participants changing into nothing but a cloth belt, also known as mawashi. For the actual match, despite the loud slapping and occasional tripping, there are some ground rules. No punching, kicking, choking, or hair pulling. A wrestler may grab hold of the opponent's belt as long as it doesn't touch the groin area. When the games begin, Yama has a simple wish when asked if his home country will do well in future competitions.
I hope so.
The 22nd annual US Sumo Open will be held on September 10th at Walter Pyramid in Cal State Long Beach from 2 to 4 p.m.
Sumo is not just a sport, but a wonderful symbol of Japanese culture. Jackie Rios, NTD News, Los Angeles.
Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for an update on sports.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you your California Today Sports Roundup.
Shohei Ohtani hit a 2-run home run as the Los Angeles Angels got the upper hand in the first round of a 3-game MVP showdown, holding on to defeat the New York Yankees 4-3 on Monday in Anaheim, California. Yankees MVP candidate Aaron Judge hit his own home run, the 50th of the season, but his chances were limited after he was intentionally walked twice. Ohtani recovered from a double-play grounder and a strikeout in his first 2 at-bats to go deep in the 5th. He added an infield single. Luis Rengifo and Mike Ford also hit home runs for the Angels. Aaron Judge joined Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle as the only players with multiple 50-homer years for the Yankees. Anthony Rizzo added a home run for New York, which lost its 3rd consecutive game. Angels 4, Yankees 3. Freddie Freeman hit an RBI groundout in the top of the 10th inning, and Chris Martin worked out of a bases-loaded jam in the bottom of the frame, leading Los Angeles to a win at Miami. The Dodgers were also led by Will Smith, who hit his 19th homer of the season, a 2-run shot. Prior to the game, the Dodgers scratched Cy Young Award candidate Tony Gonsolin, placing him on the injured list due to a strained right forearm. Miami starter Pablo Lopez threw 6 innings of 2-run ball. Huascar Brazoban took the loss. Dodgers 3, Marlins 2. Brandon Drury homered and drove in 3 runs. Mike Clevinger threw 5 effective innings, and visiting San Diego held on to top San Francisco. Austin Nola chipped in with a 2-run single for the Padres in a game that was delayed 40 minutes between the 2nd and 3rd innings because of a lights malfunction. Clevinger allowed a 2-run homer to Jock Peterson, but no other runs. Giant starter Carlos Rodon was tagged for 5 runs in 4 innings. Padres 6, Giants 5.
And that's all for your California Today Sports Roundup.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Liang Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.